everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. This is our 20th episode of On Friendship. Very
What?
exciting. Can you believe it?
I can't.
I'm Rachel Wagner and Lisa's here.
Sure am. Hi.
Yeah, this was all started when with the Christmas choir. Doesn't that feel like a million years ago?
It does, but we did do that during the summer, I remember.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And we've done, of course, more than 20 podcasts together. That's just the official On Friendship ones.
Yeah, it doesn't count all the cookie crawl
Yeah.
ones.
or or like when we did the 7-year hitch, those kind of things, because that was pre On
That's
Friendship.
probably what really got the idea going. Like maybe we should
Yeah,
keep this going. Keep it
I think
going.
so. So have you been enjoying your summer?
It's quite busy. I am
Yeah.
doing summer teaching and it's 6 weeks, Monday through Friday, 2 hours of class, but that doesn't include like the grading and the prepping. And so it's pretty intense, but otherwise it's going pretty good. And I look forward to when the class is over. Love
Oh
you,
my gosh.
students, but I'm going on a zoo tour of the Midwest as a vacay,
Oh,
and I am ready. Let's do it.
that's a creative idea. Are you going just by yourself or?
I am, but then I'll
Nice.
stop and see friends and stuff like that. I was just thinking, like, what do I like to do? What can be active and what could be socially distanced if needed to be? So
Mhm.
that's what I thought.
Brilliant. Love it. That's great. Well, today we are finally talking about a movie that aired just this last holiday season. And the
Hmm.
minute I finished watching it, I said, this is going to be an On Friendship episode. We're talking about Holly and Ivy. And that was a film that was on the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. They're the Miracles of Christmas, it's called,
Hmm.
block. And it was my sixth favorite film of 2020 Christmas when we did our ranking.
Whoa.
And yeah, and I think it really does stand out because it's a lot more about friendship than it is about romance. Would you agree?
Yes. And I remember sending you sent me a text message that says, "Did you record Holly and Ivy?" And I was like, "What? Oh my god." So we had to wait for it to re-air.
Yeah,
So now we're
we had
doing
to
Christmas
wait
in July.
for Christmas in July. Yeah, because I had thought about doing it in like January or February, and I think that maybe that's why I went from Stepmom because it was like
Yes.
the same kind of vibe going on.
And I was like, "Oh, I don't have Hallmark on my YouTube TV, so I have a special app just to record my Hallmark
Oh,
movies."
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this movie, it is about the official summary is a contractor helps a woman renovate a house so she can adopt a sick neighbor's 2 children. That is the most bland summary I've ever heard of this movie.
Really missed a boat on a lot of things.
Yeah, I think so. But it stars Janelle Parrish, Jeremy Jordan, Marisol Nichols. Overall, what did you think of the movie?
Okay, my first immediate thought, so the actress who plays Melody, um,
Mhm.
okay, she's a villain type character in Pretty Little Liars, and that's what I know her from.
Mhm.
So the first 10 or 15 minutes I was like trying to shake off the fact that Mona from Pretty Little Liars was a librarian. So once I
Yeah,
got
I
past that hang up, I was like, okay, this is really cute.
yeah, I knew that she was on that show, but I didn't know that she was a villain. So, because I never
Villain
watched it.
type is what I'll say, because that show
Uh-huh.
has a lot of who is so the concept of that show is trying to figure out who this person is that says, and they use the initial A, and so there's a lot of, is she or isn't she A, and she's seen as more like a villain type character. So for anyone,
Mm,
although it's been over for many years, I don't want to spoil the series, I'll just say she's villain like or villain type.
okay. Okay. And of course, Jeremy Jordan, all of us Broadway fans know him for his many roles on Broadway, especially Newsies. He was in the Broadway
Wait, so
Newsies.
that's the guy that Melody is dating in this movie?
Yes,
Because he's a little bit of a dreamboat.
he really is. He is very
And I didn't
dreamy.
This is my first that I can think of first movie I've seen with him, and I was like, "Well, who's this?" I
Yeah,
was like, "All right,
evidently he
Rachel, in all of Elisa's boxes, friendship,
yeah,
dreamboat."
evidently he's also on Supergirl, I've heard,
Oh,
but I
yeah, I
don't
haven't
watch
seen that,
Supergirl.
but I mean, I might be more inclined.
Yeah. But on Broadway, he was on in Waitress.
Okay,
He was
yeah.
in Waitress. He was in Newsies. That was definitely his most famous role.
Mhm.
And then he was in they did Bonnie and Clyde
Ooh,
musical that he was in. It didn't
interesting.
do very well.
Oh.
It
I
was
love the
not
Bonnie and
very.
Clyde story as much as you can say you love a story about two people who go around robbing banks, but
Yeah.
that is a fascinating story to me. So,
Hmm.
so I'm excited. Even if people didn't enjoy it, I probably would be like, "All right."
Yeah, it only ran for a month, which is not very good.
Oh no.
I know it 2 months, actually 2 months, so not
Well,
not
I
very
mean,
well.
it's kind of hard to sing and dance with guns. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, but of course, the he played Jack Kelly, the lead in Newsies, and
Nice,
so
a
and you can watch
classic.
if you have Disney Plus, you can watch the
Ooh.
recording of Newsies. It's
Look
pretty
at
fun.
you.
I
Another
know.
box added. Alysa can watch other movies or entertainment they're in at the touch of her fingers on streaming.
That's right. Uh,
Sorry, I
and
just kind of laugh because I'm sure people who are listening right now are diehard Hallmarky fans, like watch Hallmark, and I'm like, ooh, who is this guy? Wait, what's going on? Who's that? They're
I know.
like,
I mean, I just think that
girl.
actually a lot of people probably don't know him, but that aren't in like the Broadway world. But
Yes,
that's
yeah,
really where I think he's kind of famous for
yeah.
is being super charming and on
And
Broadway.
expand our horizons, Rachel. Expand
I
our
mean,
horizons. I love it.
that's my only like bone to pick with this movie is we never get him to sing, not even over the opening credits or anything.
But he does dance at the end,
That's
sort
true. He
of.
does dance. That's true.
Not
And
enough.
then Marisol Nichols, she's been in a ton of stuff. She's on Riverdale. If you
Okay.
ever watched
Mhm.
that. She's
Mhm.
also on Teen Wolf,
Ooh.
uh, NCIS 24.
Wow.
Yep, she's on 24. So she's done a ton of stuff as well.
It's always interesting
And
how
so,
like
pretty good
these
cast.
people will come together into this one, snapshot of a movie, but then considering their other work, I always think is fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can tell we'll talk about it more, but I think you can tell in a lot of ways that they spent on this movie.
Mhm.
Uh, for one of the things, even though they don't have Jeremy Jordan sing, they do have expensive music in this movie,
Mm.
which to me is like a little sign that
Yeah.
they really believed in this and they really wanted it to be good because you don't have because songs like "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree,"
Yeah.
the Sleigh Bells song, and they even have a Frank Sinatra
Whoa,
song,
pulling
"Santa
out
Claus is
all the
Coming to
stops.
Town."
Yeah.
Those are all expensive. Those are not public domain songs. They're
Wow.
expensive songs,
Wow.
and so that was something that stood out to me. Also, like little things like they actually have them reading the How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which
Mhm.
normally in Hallmark movies it's like some fake book because
Yeah.
it's cheaper. So it'll be like
But
My
they were
Friend the
going
Hedgehog, or like I mean, just some made up book.
yeah. Well, they were, like,
The
going
Merry
all
Hedgehog.
in as a they were going all in on her being a children's librarian, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. So I appreciated little details like that. Also, the fact that the big activity is sledding
Yeah.
because you have to make a ton of snow in order to do that. And
Insurance.
so that's why they have skating so often
Yeah.
in these movies, just because it's super cheap,
I
because they
was
can
gonna
have
say
skating.
sledding also seems like people could get hurt faster, so they probably need more insurance.
Yeah, that's probably true. And then also that's why they have them baking cookies so often. Those are like the two cheapest activities to film. So there were like little things about this movie that I was like, ooh, they spent money
Well,
on
and I
this
love all
movie.
these little, like, little tidbits and stuff because I'm like, "I wouldn't know." And it's
Yeah.
and as someone who is obviously being baby stepped through a
Yeah.
collection of movies to appreciate Hallmark as a whole, like, these are things that then I can use. I am armed with information so that when I
Now you
watch something,
know.
I'll be like, "They believed in this movie," or, "Oh, they did oh, this was kind of a cheap scene. Is that what they wanted to do here?" So,
Yeah.
you're helping me be able to appreciate and critique future Hallmark movies, so
All
I
right.
like it. I'm in for it.
Well, so I was actually a little nervous when they first were advertising for this movie because they were really building up the tears, and this was going to be a heart wrenching film and everything like that in the trailers. And I was worried that it would be a little too kind of Nicholas Sparksian for my taste. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen like Nicholas Sparks
Yeah.
movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mandy
The
Moore, A Walk
Yeah,
to
they usually end
Remember.
up with somebody dying from cancer,
Yeah.
and that's the case here, spoiler alert, that there is somebody that dies from cancer, but I thought so I was a little bit nervous because I really don't like those kind of movies. They're too manipulative. It's too
Yeah.
much for the most part. There's a few that are good, but I was nervous about it, and typically Hallmark isn't the best at dealing with those super.
Yeah.
They kind of have to know their lane. So
Yeah.
when they deal with these super emotional topics, it doesn't tend to be the best. And so I was just nervous about it. But I actually think they handled it really well. And the way that they kind of had the script structured, it is sad. You definitely tear up, but it's not that kind of like over the top
Yeah.
emotional manipulation that I was worried it would be.
Well, my only bone to pick with that is here's the thing, friends. Like straight out the gate, like so pleased to see not only a Hallmark movie but a Hallmark Christmas movie that focuses more on friendship or where the romantic relationship is secondary.
Mhm.
And I wholeheartedly encourage Hallmark to continue making these movies for all of the seasons, but especially in Christmas. But the one thing that I have to say is, and it doesn't necessarily need to take away from the story that we watched here, is that as they go forward with friendship stories, it should not always be about a friend losing another friend, right? It shouldn't
Yeah.
be about someone always dying of cancer, right? Like, and
Mhm.
I think sometimes that's what we get, right? That it's like, oh, you're here to be the second mom or to kind of jump in as this role
Right.
versus like this is truly our friendship and that sort of thing and I mean we see it a lot I think one movie that's not Hallmark that stands out in a way that is slightly different is Beaches, although
Yeah.
that's the case they were friends for life,
Yeah,
right?
I was
So
just thinking of I was actually gonna say beaches
yeah,
because it does
because
have that same element of
spoiler alert, but also it's we go through this whole journey of their friendship, meeting as kids
yeah.
and fighting and romances and competition and all their failures, and then we get to sort of when life all these life moments come and people do get sick. That's absolutely true, but I think there's also additionally other stories that we can tell. But I
Mhm.
did really enjoy this movie. I'm just saying if like any Hallmark execs are listening right now, let's get more friendship stories, but
Yeah.
let's also broaden them.
I think what's maybe hard about friendship stories is what the conflict is going to be
Gotcha.
because you don't have that same like commitment to
Yeah.
each other that you have as a married couple. And so there's not like quite the same stakes with a friendship as a married couple. And so how do you kind of make that
Mhm.
conflict like as compelling
Yeah. And I think
as
I'm sorry.
no, I just think that I think that's the struggle
Yeah.
uh, with with writing something. I think that's what I would maybe struggle with writing a friendship story
Mhm.
is how do you make that conflict without it being something something like someone dying or something like that. what do you do to make it kind of and make the characters grow and change?
Yeah, and I think that in addition to that, it could be a struggle for what would be Hallmark, because some of the issues that friends might go through might not feel Hallmarky if
Yeah.
you're like, but I think something like a breakup, a romantic breakup, and a friend being there and seeing the struggle of maybe uh the friend going back to that partner and the back and forth of like wanting advice and not listening, like I think that could be compelling. I
Mhm.
think that getting there's lots of conflicts that could occur, and it could be about the nature of the relationship being voluntary,
Mhm.
and that friends don't always have to agree, and so seeing some of that struggle, I think there's stories to tell. But I think you're right, and especially within sort of the Hallmark lens, that it could be difficult. But I think there are conflicts to explore. I think that, uh, I mean, just the challenge of, I think that's part of the issue, is that because we don't see the value in friendships in the same way we do as romantic, that it can be more challenging to see what struggles friends go
Mhm.
through, like friends who don't provide support during trying times, friends that are going through difficulties, like, but Hallmark doesn't cover, say, maybe mental health, so like, yeah, so I think there's a struggle there. But if we did put a little bit more of an investment as a society, this isn't Hallmark's problem, this isn't an individual's problem, it's just overall society, that if we focus a little bit more on friendship, it might be easier to maybe
Mhm.
see what those conflicts might be.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it that I
Yeah.
think that television, we get more, particularly female friendship stories, than we do in movies. We've had a
Hmm.
lot of recent movies about male friendship.
Oh yeah.
There's been a ton about sort of unlikely male, friendship, male bonding, and I think just I was just thinking about like Rhoda and Mary on Mary Tyler Moore show, The Golden
Hmm.
Girls. That's like a good
Ah,
example.
yes.
Even you could have Rachel and Monica on
Hmm.
Friends. There's a lot of uh, female friendships on television, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that we tend to see more male friendships in movies, and so I think that sort of
Mhm.
supports the idea of your hypothesis. Now, I often teach gender communication class, and when I talk about friendships, I make this sort of like slideshow of images from all of the shows and movies with friendship, and the men's one is far bigger than the women's,
Yeah.
or it's longer. It's like 76 slides, I think I saw last.
And
I
I feel like
mean,
when you have female friendship, a lot of times you have groups like the Babysitters Club or
mhm,
Joy Luck Club or things like that, book club.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
which is interesting.
well, and I think like the male friendship might not be the focus, but there's so many of them, from like even like the Fast and the Furious, right?
Mhm.
Like their friends are their family, and and this starts with like the Paul Walker and Vin Diesel in the first movie. I mean, you can see it with even when Jon Stewart was on air, and him and Stephen Colbert were friends and often guest on
Mhm.
each other's shows. You can see it with basketball players, rappers, The Big Bang Theory. Like it just there's just
It's
so
true.
many examples where it might not be the focus, but then you focus on Girlfriends, the TV show, and it's like that's the focus, is like these, like you said, a group of friends. So
Mhm.
um,
That
but
was
what
one
I
thing I
say
liked
is
about Big Bang
bring it
Theory, though, is
all.
it did evolve into the we're totally off topic now, but one thing I liked
Yeah,
is that it did evolve into the girls also being friends.
exactly. Thank you. I was like, so Penny doesn't have friends or what? What's the
Yeah.
deal here? But I guess the point we can make here is that there are stories to tell, that maybe representation across different things. There's more that we could all do, and
Mhm.
I think that we would enjoy those stories
Yeah.
in addition to the stories that exist for romance,
Yeah.
right?
And this was like I said, a lot better than I thought it would be. I actually really enjoyed it. And it was refreshing because it's nice if they're going to have 40 movies, and it looks like they're going to have more than that this year. It'd be nice if you had, oh, one's a kind of over the top comedy, one's a traditional rom com, one's
Mm-hmm.
a heartfelt tearjerker. Like if you sat down to watch a Hallmark movie and there was like a tiny bit of surprise of what you were going to, or you didn't know what you were going to be getting, that would be nice. Like,
Yeah,
yes, we want them to keep the formula because we love the formula. But
absolutely.
again, when you have 40 movies, it's okay to stray a little bit
Yes. Can
through the
I
season.
say that my mouth, like my jaw was on the floor within like the first 30 seconds of the movie? Because you want to know, I don't have Hallmark on YouTube TV, right? So
Mm,
I get it through a different app. And so I don't see commercials. I stream, I don't see the ads where,
right.
like I saw ads when I watched this movie, and I was like, oh, I wonder how Christmas She Wrote was.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, but one of the things is, I thought Holly and Ivy were going to be adult friends, and I was like, wait, they're the little girl sisters. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm already surprised and interested. Tell me more.
Yes.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast.
From the award-winning author of A Royal Christmas Wish comes a charming new romance in the Pine Hollow series where Happily Ever After begins with adopting an adorable rescue dog.
Lizzie Shane's Once Upon a Puppy is an opposites attract romance featuring a type A lawyer, a free-spirited birthday party princess, and their rambunctious Irish wolfhound who brings them together.
The perfect addition to your summer reading list, Publishers Weekly says Once Upon a Puppy will capture readers' heart from the first page.
Available now wherever books are sold. You can even look for it at your local grocery store.
For more about Once Upon a Puppy and Lizzie's entire Pine Hollow series, visit www.lizzieshane.com.
That's LizzieShane.com.
She starts out, she has her vision board and her little ornaments, and you know that that's going to, be a key element into the story.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to the library and she gives the little girl the Little Bear book, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of her dream is to be able to work with kids. And I kind of liked that the meet cute, the real meet cute that actually, well, there's kind of two meet cutes in this
Mm-hmm.
story, in this film, but the real one is between her and Nina,
Mm-hmm.
when they meet out when she's moving in, and they
Yeah.
have their little, like, they get to know each other, and it's really cute. They have immediate chemistry, yeah, and you feel like they have a bond immediately, and I feel like that's just so true to life. Is like
Mm-hmm.
they're just people that we just naturally connect with sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I know that we often might talk about like love at first sight and whether or not we believe in it. I think, there can be friends at first meet, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I believe that these two women would be friends. Absolutely from the beginning. I thought
Hmm.
the actresses, in terms of that chemistry, was really good. And so I really enjoyed that. And I also enjoyed the chemistry with Melody slash Mona from Pretty Little Girls, with the two little girls as well, the sisters, Holly and Ivy.
Yeah, the little girls were really cute,
They're
and
so cute.
yeah, and they felt real. Like they didn't feel too mop top.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there
Hmm.
was probably some guidance from the director, but I still believe them as these girls who, like, one's into like decorating and the other's like, I want to make stuff myself, and that you can be sisters and like similar things but also like different things, and just being like their connection with their mom, and like, yeah, like I was on board with all of that. I There are a couple things I wasn't on board with their meet cute. Can I pick my bone now?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, the girl's like, "Is your car full of books?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got my master's in library science and I'm like a children's librarian." And I wanted to be like, if those books are ones that you've had for your entire life, they should be packaged better. I was like, have you ever heard of these things called boxes? Like, it looked
Yeah.
like anytime she took a turn, those books were going everywhere. Open a door, they're falling out. Like, I know that they were visually trying to get this idea that
Yeah.
she loves books, but also like maybe her current state of who she is in the world and everything. But I still was like, I'm pretty sure that if this was like your precious books from childhood or just your favorite books, that even like my paperbacks that I get for like $9.99 at a bookstore, I'm still putting in a box when I move. It's just easier.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
that was
no,
like the first
that
thing I
is
was
fair.
like,
They were definitely trying to just make it, because if they were in boxes, it
it'd
wouldn't
say
be quite.
books
I
on the
guess you could
side.
reach in and get the books, but it
Yeah.
just like screams like book lady, like kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I just was like, I get it, but also boxes. Right, books on the side, don't have them taped closed, books coming out. Because the other thing is, can you imagine being like, do you want us to help you unpack the car? And if I saw her back seat, I'd be like, no, I'm busy. How many trips would that be?
And so I was telling my friend Stanford the other day that he was going to help a friend move, and I'm like, "You're the nicest person I ever," because he could have used the podcast as an excuse to get out of the movie, and I'm like, "You actually changed the podcast in order to help someone move. Like that's the nicest thing ever."
That's a good friend right there.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
is.
moving is the worst.
It's the worst. It's
It's
so
the
much.
worst. And
Oh,
as I get older, it feels like way more what's the word I'm looking for?
you just have more
Problematic.
stuff, and you just get
Yeah,
more.
it's just like
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like a some pizza and maybe some drinks doesn't seem like an even
yeah.
exchange anymore.
That's what I
Oh,
told him. I
I
said,
get
it's
to lift
not worth it.
everything.
Pizza and root beer, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I was like, oh wait, I get to move things, hurt my back, and get heartburn? No thanks.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the meet cute between her and I think it's Adam is the name? I just say
Jeremy
Jeremy Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah, the whole meet cute with the I was just trying to mansplain. You clearly know what you're doing. Did you think that was
Yeah,
charming or?
I think that I thought he was handsome, so I don't know if I let it slide or not, but like I thought like the way he said that, I think made it better, but like the words alone on paper, I don't know if I'm as soon as I hear mansplain, I'm like,
Well,
but that might just be me.
I think that he was being kind of self-aware,
Yes,
and
yes.
I thought it was kind of cute, I have to say. I liked it, and, their cute little banter back and forth, between them, and I think they had okay chemistry. My main, I guess, gripe with this movie, if I was gonna say something, is I kinda wish they just got rid of the whole his dad element. That
Yeah,
plot line I
bye.
thought was not interesting. I didn't really like the performance. It was just a little too mean in this like really sweet movie, and he's being all like
Mhm.
super mean to this lady who's doing this really nice thing until finally he's redeemed and does something nice. But I don't know, just that whole plot line I could have done without.
Well, and I'm kind of like over like you're obligated to do this thing when why does it like if someone's like, yeah, I want to go into the family business, then cool. But if they're like, I have a dream, why are you like, let's crush that dream? And I realize there's like family and all the stuff that's involved, but in terms of like a story in which I am watching for, say, entertainment, I'm kind of over that storyline,
Yeah,
right? Like the being forced to do something. I don't know. I just feel like I mean, if anything that we've learned in the last couple of years is that life can be short and unpredictable and terrible and but also good. So let's focus on the good stuff and make that happen. And
yeah.
it's
I
too
mean,
short
when
to be like, yeah, I guess I have to do this thing that I'm gonna hate every
yeah.
single day. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked kind of the compromise at the end of the movie, but
Mhm.
I just I don't know, I felt like you could have had all of that as far as them figuring out what they want to do for their work without having the father character be like an actual character and him being all mean and
Yeah.
everything like that. I don't know. I just and it kind of reminded me of While You Were Sleeping because in
Hmm.
that movie he wants to build furniture,
Yeah.
but like the dad isn't a jerk about it. He just doesn't know. He's
Yeah.
just not being honest with his dad.
And here's the thing, that was what, 20 some years ago? It's been
Yeah,
done.
that's true.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think like either that could have been changed or that other scenes could have been included that was about the mother and the daughters, or
Mhm.
the mother and the friend, or the friend and the daughter. Like there's lots of different ways that maybe we could expand it upon that storyline, and him just being someone that she's met and is interested in, and that's okay too. Like, because like how many times do we hear stories about people and we don't know anything that's going on, and we don't need to know all that. The story is about Holly and Ivy and Nita and Melody.
Yeah, I agreed. So Nina comes over and she passes out at Melody's house,
Mhm.
and that would be very upsetting.
Yeah.
And so obviously she's really concerned, and we find out that she's had lymphoma twice,
Mm,
and she's beaten it twice.
mm.
And so she's pretty sure at this time that she's going to hear bad news from the doctor.
Yeah.
And that's definitely, very, very devastating, terrible.
Yeah.
So there's no getting around that. She's like, "Oh, it was just nothing." I'm like, "Are you crazy? If
What's
somebody
that?
came over and passed out in my house, like I would probably call 911."
Yeah. Well, it could be like, well, it also just means that like she might have to share something that she's not comfortable sharing with someone she just met. Like, so
Mhm.
it's got to be a really tough situation on her end, even if she has a connection with someone. If they've just met, like it can really force upon conversations that we're not ready to have yet. And so yeah, that's a tough situation for everyone to be in. It's like, what do you do? How do you handle it? And how do you say like, are you okay, without you being like, tell me everything,
Mhm.
or why did this happen?
Yeah. And then they show the puppy, and that little puppy is so cute.
Oh my goodness. But there was a lot of cat slander in
That's
this movie. The girl's like,
it,
why do you want a cat? It's on the dream board. And then she's like, dogs are way better. And I had to cover Ferguson and Rooney's ears so that they would not be offended.
poor cats. They always get
I
you.
know.
It's and you find out the kind of the thing for them is they dance in front of the Christmas tree, and that's super cute.
Hmm.
And uh, then Adam asks her on a date, and he says, "I would scoff first and then run away." Scouts on her. So you're a scout. And so they asked her on a date. I liked that whole scene. It was really cute. And then we get the decorating scene at her house,
Hmm.
and that's to rocking around the Christmas tree, Brenda Lee. And
Hmm.
again, that's how one big clue that they spent money on this movie,
Yeah.
because I'm pretty sure that's not in public domain, so it's expensive.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of times when you watch a Hallmark movie, you hear like some really generic, weird song about like Christmas is great, Christmas is here, or like something like that. You're like, what is this song? Oh, that, or that's why they love Silent Night, because Silent Night
Yeah.
is in public domain, so they
So
can
it's
play it as much as they want. In Christmas at Graceland, it was 9 times. They played
what
it
was the one where they like danced to Silent Night, and
yeah,
it sort of like was like, what's this vibe? What are you going for other than this is what we can afford?
yeah. I think it's been done quite a bit actually with Silent Night. I don't know.
It just really kills the mood in some
Yeah,
ways.
when they are dancing to a Holy Night and Silent Night, it's a little ridiculous.
It's so romantic. Sorry.
I mean, it's too bad that "I'll Be Home for Christmas" isn't in the public domain, because I feel like that song would be the perfect
Oh,
slow Christmas song to
yeah.
dance to.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's get it
But anyway,
let's get it cracking, people. We need to help out with the public domain here.
yeah. And then we find out about her story, about Melody's story, that her birth mom gave her the elf, and then she was living with a family for 5 years, and they gave her an elf every year. So she ended up with, I guess, 6 elves.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, she then had to go back to the system after 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
which is brutal. I mean, I can't even imagine taking
Yeah.
like a 5-year-old little girl and
Yeah.
taking. I mean, it must. I'm sure that does happen, and there are
Yeah.
foster caregivers that have to make those decisions. But oh my gosh, I
Well, yeah,
can't imagine doing that to a 5-year-old.
and the system's tough and rough as it is, you know, even staying in, you know, having a foster parent the whole time. I mean, it can be tough, and it seemed like, um, in terms of what, you know, she carried these elves, she has this vision board, and she even says at like one part in the movie that, you know, she's just never occurred, she does everything herself, like putting books in her car without boxes. Like, this is the way I do it, right? I do everything myself, and it never occurred to her to ask anyone else for help. And so maybe some of that also indicates maybe the type that might be a sign from being in foster care or in the foster system and being like, you know, I figure, you know, I have to figure out life myself once I left the system, things like that. Not saying like not everyone has a bad experience and there's so many wonderful foster parents. I'm just saying like that in her case, it seemed like maybe that's why she has like the vision board. She's looking for something in particular. She's holding on to these, like the one memory or moment that she did have with her mom, if you will, and just that it never occurred to her to ask for any help. And I think that's part of what this movie does is like through friendship, we when we have good friends, we know that we can rely on people to help us through tough times, through diagnosis of cancer, of moving, you know, whatever it might be, big or small, that's part of the function of friendships is to help, and that we don't have to do everything alone. And in particular, it doesn't have to be one friend like Nina and the two daughters, or even Jeremy Jordan. I don't even know what his character's name is at this point, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's classic Alysa on Hallmark. He's on Friendship, calling him by the actor's name once I know who he is actor wise.
That's what I
But
do
like,
too.
I think it also shows like it takes a village, and like in that particular town of Chippewa Hills, like, or Chippewa Falls, excuse me, that all these people who had connected with Melody over the time she had been there wanted to help bring her house up to code so that she might be able to adopt Holly and Ivy. And I think that is a pretty important part of the story of friendship, is that there's nothing that we have to do alone when we have good friends.
Yeah. And she says, elves are the hardest workers in the Christmas story. I identified with them, which I had never thought about before, but it's totally true. It's very cute.
I liked that
That
theme
was a sweet
throughout.
moment.
And I think then when it comes back and those people are helping her get her house in order and they bring back that idea of the elf, I was like, oh my God, yes! Friends are the elves!
Yeah. So then we jump ahead to the moment where Nina tells her about her test. And I really liked the way they did this because her immediate reaction is to say, well, I'll take the girls. And then she pulls back and is like, oh my gosh, what did I just say?
Yeah.
Because I thought that was so realistic, because I think if anybody, you'd have that reaction of, well, I'll help, because you want to help and you don't want, but then I think everybody would kind of step back and be like, wait a minute, this is 2 lives that I have to care for forever, and so I thought that was really, it would have felt very, to me, very disingenuous if they had just kind of left it at her immediately offering and didn't have that sort of second where you pull back and be like, wait a minute, I got to think about this.
Yeah, and even so, because they haven't known each other for that long, right? So, because I swear the one, and I was like, okay, Alysa, just go with suspension of disbelief. But I was like, this is the longest Christmas season in life because it seemed to last years. in the sense of like all the things that happened, right? And so just even in the time frame, and again, I do believe there's like you can be friends at first meet, but yeah, to agree to something like that, like it's even like, wait, what am I actually agreeing to? Like, have I really thought about it fully, what it entails, and if that's something that I'm capable of doing, right? Because it's not just like, can you emotionally do it? Can you mentally do it? Can you physically do it? Can you financially do it? Right. And so
Yeah.
there's lots of things to consider. And that doesn't seem like a decision that would be made in the moment.
But I think that you would have that initial,
Oh, absolutely.
like,
Like, let's,
response.
oh,
So I like
yeah,
that they had both. I really do.
exactly. Yeah. I was agreeing with you with
Yeah.
like a roundabout, like, because you're not just going to be like, yeah, sure. And then end scene. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, there are
Yeah.
things to consider. And that's sort of what's making her then pause is like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I agree. I really thought that was good and well done. And so then she's talking to JJ. I liked he asked her out to, I think, pasta or something like that, and she's like, "I thought we were going out on Sundays." Like, "Sunday's too far away." That
Oh,
was cute.
cute.
That was really cute. Uh, so she asks JJ to help. I mean, why I say JJ? That's what I wrote in my notes. Jeremy Jordan.
Jeremy Jordan.
So she asks Adam to help with the house, and he says, "Help where help is needed, not just when it's easy." And they're talking about, and so they both have their sort of dream jobs, and what are they going to do? Because she could work for data services, but she dreams of being in a library. There's you meet Patricia from the library. She has Melody has tons of ideas about how to make the library better,
Mhm.
but Patricia basically says, like, we think you're great, but we just don't have the funds.
Mhm.
So that's kind of sad. And then she gets really upset when she sees him going into the ice cream store with a woman, and she thinks he's
Mhm.
on a date. And it turns
Mm.
out she's the director of urban planning. And so she's like, "You haven't made any commitment to me," but she's obviously very upset. And uh,
Somebody likes Jeremy
yeah, that's
Jordan.
right. And then we also get a scene with Nina where Nina says, "You're not my nursemaid. You didn't sign up for that." And I just loved this part, did make me tear up. And she says, "Yes, I did. I'm your friend and the person you asked to be your children's guardian."
Mm.
I love that. That was really a
Yeah.
sweet scene, I thought.
Yeah. It's
I Yeah, I also really thought it made me tear up when she said, "I bought a house bigger than I needed because I wanted to fill it up with people."
vision board, family was on there. Included cat, but that's fine.
Yeah. There will always be room for anyone to be called family,
Mhm.
which I thought of you when I saw it. I was like, "Well, Lisa's gonna really like that line."
Because anyone can be our family, especially our friends.
Yes, that's right. And you have she does the interview with the data services. She meets with the lawyer, and the lawyer basically says, like, "This is what you're going to need to do. This is not going to be easy." So she decides to do the interview, and it seems to be going pretty well. And I liked the fact that they kind of acknowledge in this movie that we're still going after our dreams, but there's going to we're it's okay to, like, put them on hold for a little bit, so
Yeah.
that they're going to have these jobs, and then they're going to do the bookmobile, the furniture. I kind of
Mhm.
like that was a little bit of realism you don't not necessarily usually see in this kind of movie.
Yeah, and I think the fact that she couldn't find a job at the beginning, I was like, "Well, Merry Christmas." Like, I was like, "This part's too realistic." Like, that all these the budget cuts and the jobs and that sort of thing, but yeah, I think that realistically, that sometimes there's things we have to do to get to do the things we want to do.
Yeah.
And so, I think a lot of times we can be in a rush to make those dreams happen, not realizing that some of these are steps help us get there along the way, and that we do have to take these other steps because of need or whatever the case might be. And so, yeah, I'm on board with that. But at the beginning, I was like, man, if I would have watched this around Christmas, I might be depressed about like the job situation, but because sometimes I'm like, when I see, I think I've told you that, growing up as a Lifetime movie watcher, that is far more like villain based or
Yeah.
or darker and things like that. That when I watch the movies that you're like, hey, this is the movie we're gonna watch, that a lot of times I think it takes me out of the stress or the situation I'm in. And this one time I was like, man, I mean, I have a job, friends, but there's so many people who don't. And so, like, that's where I was like, this feels too real to me. So,
Yeah. I really liked the whole the sledding scene. I thought that was really fun. And like you said, something we typically don't get because it is really expensive.
mhm.
And it was, I don't know, just fun. It was a nice break from all the emotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think you needed it. And then you have them making the ornaments. And that's when the dad was really annoying me. He's coming in and being all grumpy when
Yeah.
these like cute little girls are there. I mean, I just feel like almost nobody is that much of a Scrooge.
Except for Scrooge himself.
Yeah, Scrooge. And then we have it was made a little bit better because then when it's just the two of them are together, the dad says you like her, and he says I like all of them, which was really cute.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing that I think I enjoyed about this movie is that the friendship between Nina and Melody, and the idea that like she's not going to replace their mother, but she is going to become mother-like, or another word might be like mentor, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a level of friendship and connection that's happening. And so I enjoy both like the adult friendship and then the connection between Melody and the girls. But what I enjoy about the romantic relationship, with it being included, was like it was mainly all the good stuff that I like from the rom-com type movies, or
Mm-hmm.
the romantic focus one, without all the yucky stuff. Like we didn't have to worry about narcissist guy. Wait, what do you call the guy that's usually the ex-boyfriend that you have to get rid of to
Oh,
get
the
to a
bad
good
man of business.
yeah, we didn't, I guess the dad was the bad man of business in this
Yeah,
movie,
he
but like
was.
romantically, we didn't have to deal with that. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, let's get these. So that's what I also liked about the romantic. Like, I was like, they seem like a good match.
Yeah.
They're cute together. He says cute things. And so, like, for someone who's like, I'm here for the friendship, I actually enjoyed the romantic stuff
Yeah.
too.
It was cute.
Yeah.
And so then they're reading How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and it says books are for sharing. And then Nina says, "You did that. You inspired them to start reading more," and
Mhm.
that's really cute. And then Nina gives her the elf, and oh my gosh, that's one of the most
Oh,
emotional
yeah,
parts.
that one when I was like, I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for Nina to be like, here's an elf to indicate you are a part of our family. And I was like, okay, I didn't know I was going to be crying on my couch eating Taco Bell, but here we are.
Yeah, and she says, "You moving next door is the best thing that ever happened to us."
Yeah.
And
Which is also an indicator that we can make friends. Sorry, I'm really pushing it this time, y'all, because this is like together. This one is also about friendship. So I have to like, get in all my shots on friendship, right? But that, friends can be our neighbors. Friends can be people we meet at the library. Like it's just being open to where we make friends.
yeah,
So.
yeah, definitely. And then the crew coming to help get the house up to code,
Mhm.
and they says you have elves in your home now. So cute.
Yeah,
That was
I was like,
adorable.
I thought I didn't see that coming either. Like, that was like, oh, snap. That's a
She
good
says,
connection.
yeah, she says I spent my whole life thinking I would do it alone, and then
Yeah.
people show up and open their hearts. So
See?
cute, so
Yeah.
good.
Friendship.
And she decides on the name of the bookmobile. She says it's going to be the book elf, the elf that brings a book to your shelf, which is really cute.
Yay. P.S. When I was a kid, I loved the bookmobile. It used to come up to the grocery store parking lot about 3 blocks from my home, and we'd go up there, and I love going. But also, I really appreciate this movie as well because I grew up with a mom who's a librarian. So I was like, "Ooh, Nancy's gonna love this one." I'd be like, "Mom, did you record Holly and Ivy?" And she watched it when it aired, and I recorded it. Yeah, and she's like, she texted me, "She's a librarian," and I was like, "Oh yeah." Yeah, gotta love anyone who is sharing books with kids. And like, I just love how she says at the beginning when the girls are like, "How many books do you have?" And she's like, "I can never be alone when you have a good book."
Yeah, that
And
was cute. And
yeah.
I like they give her that little reading nook.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cute.
Like the idea, I was like all there for it, but then immediately I was like redesigning it to make it look more comfortable in my head. I was like, this needs more pillows and cushions, y'all. But it was very cool, and I've always wanted one of the, what do you call those windows that open out and sort of like they round?
What do they call those? I forgot.
I don't know, but I've always wanted one of those windows, and I would totally sit in my window and read, but I just need something a little bit more comfortable there.
Well, the problem, if it's too comfortable, then you fall asleep.
Well,
So you almost need it to be.
I'm not gonna complain about having a good nap, Rachel.
Fair, that's true. So yeah, and then he says, "You offered an incredible gift to others. Someone needed to do that to you."
Yeah.
So cute.
And I think, sorry, one more friendship idea here is that really highlights reciprocity, right? That when we put good things out to people, we get good things back, or that's what friends do. I helped you and you helped me, and it's not like we're keeping count. It's just sort of the dance of friendship that we help people when they're in need,
Yep,
and so
definitely.
I love that.
And so then his dad and mom show up, and they have a fancy van for the bookmobile.
That was cool.
It was super cute. It was good. I still think it would be better if they worked out so that he didn't have money. I don't know. I just didn't like his character, the dad, but
let's just have like the kids from the library and the parents raise money for a van. I'm on board with that.
Right? Yeah, exactly. He says
we have a few rewrites, and
he says help is there. Help was needed. I bet you didn't think you had a whole community behind you. That was really cute. And they're going to support him in making his furniture and everything. So it's going to be everything's going to be okay. And then they also say that they're going to do the data services and the corporate construction until their dreams get off the ground, which again I really liked. The compromise. And I like the fact that they didn't have the kind of the deathbed scene. I mean, that all kind of helped it to feel less manipulative. I don't know. I appreciated that. And so the next is the 1 year later, with her adopting the girls, and they just mentioned that Nina made it through the summer, and then passed away, and so that was very emotional, and I loved the little girls wearing those crowns. It was so cute. Oh. And then you find out then he shows him, and he's going to be proposing. He shows the ring to the girls. It was so cute.
And they approve, and they don't show that scene. And that, I think, is also critical to the storyline here, that it's focusing on Nina and Melody, and then Holly and Ivy, and then on JJ. Hey, bud, we got a new nickname for you.
Congrats, Jeremy. You have a new nickname.
JJ. But I like that. And it looks like he also, can I just say for a moment, like that ring box looked like he made it, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah, that was cute. And then they toast to Nina, which was so sweet.
Yes.
and then they're doing their dance in front of the tree. And so that finished off the movie. And like I said, I feel like this was a bit of a risk for Hallmark. It's definitely something different that they don't tend to do. I think a lot of people have the impression that Hallmark movies are like this, but they're
Yeah.
really not. Like I hear
Yeah.
people say things like, "Oh, super sappy, super," and, and super emotional stuff like that. So it's like a Hallmark movie, and I'm like, that's not really. Very rarely.
No, that's not, at least not in the movies that I have watched.
Right.
There have been moments or movies where it was like, okay, this is the moment, but I've never been like, okay, here come the waterworks. Like, you know,
That's right.
I'm more like, all right, where's the meet cute? Where's the bad man of business? And
That's right.
where's the kiss going to be at the end? Like, it, like, I guess, like if people are like, oh, Hallmark movies are a little predictable, I'd be like, okay, that's fair, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That's what a lot of people like about them. And then they
Right.
also like maybe the one out of how many movies did you say over Christmas was
40.
not about romance. So it was a little bit different. And I think like that's what people like about it. That's why people watch these movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I think this one's a good one. Let us know if you're listening what you think of Holly and Ivy. Did you like it? Not like it? Would love to hear your thoughts. And Alysa, where can people find you?
yes, you can find me on Friends with Alysa. I've merged all of my social media, my email, my webpage to cover Best Forevers, Fatalities, and my upcoming podcast, Unrequited, to be under one house, which is again called Friends with Alysa. And that's on all of the socials, Gmail, webpage. The only thing is Twitter is Friends W Alysa, because apparently it was too long. And then my personal Twitter that I use to often talk about TV and friendship and otherwise is Dr. Lisa Lucas.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please check that out. And also make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate it. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our patron group and merch store. All the information for that is in the description, so please take a look. And it's always fun, and we'll look forward to whatever we're going to be talking about from friendship next month. It's going to be fun.
Ooh, yay, friendship.
Merry Christmas in July. Bye, everyone.